Welcome to the Mina Community Spotlight. We're really excited to have you here. We have Evan, CEO of O1 Labs and board member of Mina Foundation, and I'll let him take it from here.
Thank you. Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm very excited that we're all here together to talk about Mina today. I want to thank you all for coming to the event. I think that over the next 2 hours, we have something like 8 talks, which is crazy. And you'll hear from people building all over Mina across the ecosystem, which is really exciting. I'm really humbled by the growth and really excited that we can share it with all of you today. So to start it off, I wanted to just share an overview of some of the things that are happening within Mina. And if I can pull it up here, there we go. Yeah, so I'm just very excited, to share with you all these updates with Mina, starting off with just some of the things that have happened in the last few months, starting with the network. So the network since mainnet, mainnet's been up and live for around 3 months now. And this is particularly cool because Mina is not just like a fork of Bitcoin or a fork of Ethereum. Mina is its whole new architecture with zero knowledge proofs on a whole new code base. So the fact that it's been working this well for 3 months is like really awesome and gives us a lot of confidence that it's a really strong foundation for the next steps for Mina. That as Mina expands and has new things added to it and has more people using it, it will continue to be stable because of the stable foundation, which is great. Currently, we have over 22,000 active Mina holders on chain and over 1,000 connected nodes. Also pretty good. Mina's mainnet also saw more than 500% increase in network traffic after listing on exchanges, which is, again, speaks to the stability that it was like perfectly fine during that time, which is really cool. We also have started working and started doing protocol updates, which is another thing that is an important part of a protocol. We released the first major update around 6 weeks ago, O1 Labs did, and that was successfully adopted by chain without any issues. Yes. And there's another one in beta that will improve stability and will be released soon to the wider community. So we're doing pretty good, I think, being in a cadence of these and starting to get out updates to Mina, which is really great. Other than the network itself, since launching mainnet 3 months ago, been a bunch of other developments so far. So we've partnered with Mina Foundation's partnered with ChainSafe for a Rust implementation of Mina. ChainSafe will share more on this later. Actually, they'll share more on this directly after my talk. And this is really cool because it means that not only is a second version of Mina good for decentralization, it also just means more people working on the project and building out new things so that we can get to things such as Mina nodes that run fully secured in browsers, Mina nodes that run fully secured on phones much more quickly. So it's very cool. Next is we planned and developed a roadmap for snaps with O1 Labs. I will be getting to that later in the talk. But this is like, I think it's extremely cool. Like as someone who spent most of his time programming until very recently, I think snaps are going to be an extremely awesome new way of programming, and maybe you have to see it for yourself, but I'll at least talk about it later in this presentation. We've also seen very substantial growth on all community channels. The Twitter recently got to 100K, which is always a very exciting and cool milestone. We also onboarded a lot of Prism token grant members, so a lot of people that were really core to the community early on now are a part of the token holder community. Also, we held our first Mina Illuminate conference for anyone there. It was like really, really awesome. It was like 8 hours, and like somehow I ended up staying through the whole thing, and it was very cool. Yeah, so I'm excited to do more of those like we're doing here today. Our head of community, Christine, will also share more on community things later. I believe the one also directly after ChainSafe, so that'll be coming up soon. Also been some work on partnerships. There are more of these to come, but for now I can say like we're reviewing applications for the request for proposal with Ethereum. This is really cool because it means that it'll be possible to verify Mina from Ethereum in a trustless way. So this is like a fully trustless bridge, which means that applications on Ethereum can take advantage of the snap stuff when it is available. So developers on Ethereum can take advantage of full Turing-complete programmability with zero knowledge proofs. And that brings a lot of use cases to those other platforms. I'll get to this later. We also built a use case demo with Teller Finance. This one is cool because it's also fully built out in a lot of ways. You can download this to your own computer and it'll make smart proofs and it'll submit it. And it's all kind of, really real and running on your own machine, which is very awesome. And there's more of these to come. Yes. Okay, next. We also have heard loud and clear from the community that we want to find more ways to share more of what Mina is working on more regularly. And towards that, here's some things that we're going to start doing. For one, we're going to start hosting some ecosystem update meetings. So the plan is to start hosting frequent updates with folks across the ecosystem, like ChainSafe I mentioned earlier, like people building wallets, like people building more infrastructure for node operators, and soon people building more snaps, and O1 Labs, and they can all share what they're working on. Anyone will be able to attend these and listen in, and there'll also be an open Q&A at the end. So really we can start having that interaction that'll be so great between all the people that are building, all the people that have questions about what is being built, and yeah, it'll be good. And then also we'll package those up and share them out also more broadly across our socials so that more people can see all the cool stuff that is happening on Mina. We're also doing some work for people that are building tooling on Mina, making it easier for people to see and expose and talk about all of that tooling stuff. So for one, we're trying to create a subreddit, Mina Dev, on Reddit. So if you want to talk about tools there, please check that out. We'll see if that's a good medium for this. And also, of course, you can just see awesome.mina.tools, which is community run, but it's a huge list of all the things that have been built before, which is whether you want to actually see the tools to use them or you're just kind of curious, just check it out. It's a cool page of all the stuff. Lastly, if you're building something on Mina, encourage you to share it with us just by tagging Mina protocol. Every update helps Mina grow and also helps people know about all the cool things that are going on Mina. So please check that out. So I wanted to talk a little bit on the focus for the near future with Mina. And what this really comes down to is snaps and what it will look like to structure Mina for its decentralized future. So on snaps, just a quick reminder on what they are. This is Mina's smart contracts technology extended with zero-knowledge proofs. So that if you're using snaps on Mina, then you can also get access to zero-knowledge proofs for privacy, for verifying user data securely, for scalable compute. And these features are very, very cool in crypto because it's kind of it's almost analogous to how it wasn't possible to do any programmability on cryptocurrency before Ethereum. And then when Ethereum became available, it suddenly was. I think a similar thing is going to happen over the next few years with zero-knowledge proofs and seemingly starting with Mina. These features around the things I mentioned are things that if you just try to do it without zero-knowledge proofs, you really can't do them. It's not possible to interact on-chain in a way that lets users preserve their privacy. They can just post all of their private information to a public record, which they probably don't want to do because you didn't have to do that before either. And you can start thinking about bringing user data on chain through this privately and securely in a way that's verified, which also I think will be really useful, as well as just thinking about scaling compute. Just a technical detail on this. On Mina, every snap will just be verifying a zero-knowledge proof. It won't be this dynamically sized computation that the chain has to run differently depending how big it is, where if it's too big, it costs too much gas and then you can't do it. Everything is just a zero-knowledge proof. So you can put extremely large computations on Mina without having high gas costs. In fact, without even having a concept of gas cost, because you just pay for the one transaction. So that'll be really awesome for scalability as well. Some applications you can imagine applying this to. I think there's so many. Just to mention a few, DeFi is definitely one. As DeFi needs to expand beyond kind of the over-collateralized version that it is today, where it wants to bring on real users, that have real data and have real identities and all of these other kinds of things that don't really stay compatible with cryptocurrency right now because of this sensitive user data aspect, will be possible with zero knowledge proofs, which I think is going to be really cool. Another thing that you could imagine doing, I think is fun, is like verifiable NFTs. So you can imagine building something like BitClout, which the controversial Twitter NFT platform, but making it actually trustless and decentralized, where there isn't this very, very centralized middleman actually making it possible. You could actually do things like that fully end to end. And lastly, with this, what's I think also very cool is you can do trustless bridging, where because Mina is so small, you can put Mina on these other platforms like we're doing with Ethereum right now. And what's especially, I think, interesting there is because the Ethereum one is just EVM, once we have that, it should be possible to spread Mina to many, many chains and bring some of these features across like kind of the whole ecosystem of crypto, which I'm very excited, both for Mina and because I think it'll be very cool for these other projects to start getting access to a lot of these features. I'm excited and hopeful it'll add a lot to the space in terms of pushing forward to kind of the next step of a lot of the things that are getting built right now, where we start to kind of see the limitations of the current sets of things that cryptocurrency can access and the sets of things that maybe we can bring on and do extra with snaps that seem like they're becoming more and more relevant. So just say very excited about snaps. And I wanted to give a brief progress update on snaps. So one thing that is now done, which is awesome, is the language has been selected. It's just going to be in JavaScript and TypeScript. And this is great because it's not going to require developers to learn a whole new programming language to start building with snaps. They'll just be able to use snaps from within JavaScript and TypeScript, which most people already know, and using all their existing tooling. So I think this is going to be really awesome for people because it should make it really accessible to get access to snaps in a way that's never been possible with zero knowledge proofs before, because they've always been fairly complex and hard to use because the tooling wasn't the ones that people are used to. It was being built from scratch, and hopefully this will let Mina developers really get easy access to it. The implementation of this is underway, and I think it'll probably happen much faster than you might expect from what I've seen on the O1 team building it. And there are workshops and hackathons planned for later this year. So if it goes according to schedule, very soon there'll be workshops where you can start learning how to use snaps and use zero knowledge proofs really from within JavaScript and TypeScript with very minimal, more like kind of learning to use a library than anything else. And excited for that one. And then they'll also have hackathons for anyone who's interested in using zero knowledge proofs programmability to start building that out and seeing what's possible there. I'm extremely excited for this. I think there's so much possible with zero knowledge proofs that once we can start programming with it in hackathons and stuff, it'll be amazing. The next thing I wanted to mention is on what I'm calling here structuring Mina for its decentralized future. So Mina is this extremely decentralized technology. It's something that at scale, if everyone's using it, everyone in the world can have a Mina fully verifying secure node on their own device. And that's just something that is just so powerful, I think, if we imagine cryptocurrency going mainstream, that we're thinking very carefully and very seriously about what kind of community needs to support that and what the Mina Foundation can do to support that community. And later as in very soon, there's going to be a survey going out to the community asking, how can the Mina Foundation best support you? What have you seen from other foundations that have worked well? What have you seen that hasn't worked well? What can the Mina Foundation do to support a community as large and decentralized as possibly the technology can be? So please weigh into that once you get a chance to see it. I'm very excited to start really building this together. And yeah, so please check out that survey when it's out. If you have any questions on what I've been talking about here, about Mina, about what's being shared today, please join the AMA with me in an hour and a half. Happy to answer any questions about the project. It's a very exciting time, I think, for Mina, because we're at a place where things are just getting very real, and also there's so much more possibilities and then exciting things on the horizon, which is really awesome. So please join me then if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to it. And please enjoy the next set of talks. Like I said, we have like 8 in like 2 hours, so it's going to be really fun hearing from people in the community and across the ecosystem. So thank you.
Thanks, Evan. We're going to transition to our next session now.